Hey guys, I am 1 minute early to my lesson. Hope y'all are logging in. Make sure you're logging in with your first name, your last name, your school, and the time you are logging in. So, it takes a little bit for everyone to get on the live chat. Hi, Laureen. All right, just waiting for a few more. There we go. There's everyone. Hi, Mabry. All right. Perfect. There we are. Don't forget your first name, last name, school, and the time you clocked in just to help with roll call. And today we're going to be learning the cardiovascular system. Make sure, remember how we said that in your notes that you need the date on your notes. So make sure you're writing April 2nd, 2020. We're just going to learn, and you can title your notes, the cardiovascular system. Emily, no, you did not get any emails for this class. The only things you need for this class are pen and paper. And you probably need lots and lots of paper. Everyone just keep logging in, keep doing your roll call. Make sure that you are. It's a lot easier that we can see if we see your first name, last name, time, and the school, that it's a lot easier for us to record the roll call. So our little itinerary for today, there we go, is we're just going to do the roll call, then we're going to do an introduction into the cardiovascular system, sorry. Then some vocabulary, and then the diagram, and we're going to do some questions and answers, and then some recap. So that's what we're kind of doing today, just to give you a heads up. Perfect. We're just going to do some roll call for at least 4 more minutes. Give everyone at least 5 minutes to clock in. There we go. Everyone's starting to clock in. Don't forget to clock in your time as well. So first name, last name, and make sure that you have a pen and paper. If you do not, grab one right now, and you're going to probably need a lot of paper or at least a spiral notebook. Yes, and we are also drawing for a diagram. So make sure that if you need a pencil for that and in a big eraser, that you get that, because we are going to be drawing a little bit. So I have everything drawn out for you. So just make sure you have all the supplies you need. There we go. Hi, everyone. So just to recap, we need pen, pencil, eraser. You may, if you do not have red and black markers, you can go get them. If not, you don't exactly need them. It just helps a little bit with the labeling if you have red and black markers. If you have just a little pencil bag, that's completely fine as well. Welcome, Victoria. All right, perfect. Keep clocking in so that way our roll call can get you, and we're just about to start the introduction into the cardiovascular system. We're just letting everyone grab pencils, pens, paper, a lot of paper or a spiral notebook, some black markers and some red markers. If you have them, it's optional. It just helps with the labeling a little bit. All right, we have about 2 more minutes of roll call left just to make sure everyone's getting on, everyone's getting clocked in. If you have not done so, please grab all the materials you need. And again, I'm doing the cardiovascular system today, and today is April 2nd, 2020. So make sure you title your page Cardiovascular System and then put the date on it. Hi, Rosie, welcome. All right, just give everyone one more minute. I hope y'all are all having a good afternoon and a good day so far. It looks like it's gonna rain soon, so I enjoy the rain. Yeah, I like the rain because whenever you're cooped up all day, it just makes you feel better. It makes me feel better, and it makes me feel like, oh, I'm gonna go get in a cozy blanket. All right. Perfect. So we're going to get started. Like I said, I'm doing the cardiovascular system. So why is it important for us to have even a cardiovascular system? Can anyone answer that question? Why is the cardiovascular system so important? No one knows why the cardiovascular system is so important? I know it takes everyone a little bit to start typing. Yes, Victoria, we need blood. Carmen, it circulates the blood. Lindy, pumps blood through the body. Brenna, so our bodies can function. There we go. So the reason why we need the cardiovascular system is because it is extremely important. It is how our cells get nutrients. It's how we let cells have waste. So it's extremely important to the body. Its main function is just letting the body, giving the cells the oxygen they need. So write this down. Our cardiovascular system, there we go. Our cardiovascular system contains the heart, blood, veins, blood vessels, arteries, and lymph, which is also part of the cardiovascular system. So make sure you write this down. So the cardiovascular system consists of heart, blood, veins, blood vessels, arteries, and lymph. We're going to go more in depth with those as soon. Just this is kind of a thing of what we are going to be taught about, the main parts of the cardiovascular system. I'm sure everyone has that written down already. All right, so we're going to talk about first the heart. The heart is a cone-shaped muscular organ that located in the chest cavity. It normally is about the size of a closed fist. All right, it contracts and relaxes to force blood to move through the circulatory system. That is the heart. So the heart is one of the most important parts of the circulatory system. It is about the shape of a fist. So for those of you with small little hands like me, your heart's very small looking towards you. Make sure you're writing all of these notes. They're very, very important. This is part of your grade that you're going to turn in to Molly. So make sure you're getting all of these notes. Okay, the heart is a cone-shaped muscular organ that is located in the chest cavity. It is normally about the size of a fist. It contracts, and what it does is it contracts and relaxes to move blood through the circulatory system. So that is what the heart does. That is the most important part of the circulatory system. And with the heart, we have the heart rate. It refers to the number of the heartbeats per minute. So that's what the heart rate does. We have to measure heart rates whenever we're getting different types. We have to make sure that we have a good resting heart rate and a good heartbeat. If not, if our heart is too weak, then it won't exactly do what we need it to do. That's whenever we get heart attacks and different things. So our heart has to stay strong. And fun fact, our heart is the only organ, all of your organs, including your heart, it runs 24/7, 7 days a week. It does not get any break. Whenever you're sleeping, it's still pumping blood. So the heart is one of the organs that work 24/7, 7 days a week. All right, next we have the superior vena cava. What the superior vena cava does is it returns deoxygenated blood from the circulation to the right atrium. So right now we're going into the actual parts of the heart. And whenever we do the diagram, we will label them. So just make sure that you write the superior vena cava returns deoxygenated blood from circulation to the right atrium. All right. So like we said, the superior vena cava pumps blood to the circulation to the right atrium of the heart. The right atrium receives deoxygenated blood from the body's main veins. So the superior vena cava. And this is very important. This is how the heart, what's very, very important is about the heart is that it has 4 chambers, 4 big chambers. All the deoxygenated blood goes through each one of these chambers and becomes oxygenated blood. That is the heart's main function, is to make sure that it gets transferred from oxygenated to oxygenated blood. So the right atrium. And don't worry if you aren't getting these notes, they are due to Molly at 5, from 5 to 6. So the total due date is probably about 6. So just make sure that once you get all these notes to email them to Molly.
Or you give them an extended time if they need it.
If you do need an extended time, because I know some of you get off work at 5, if you need an extended time, you can have it. Just make sure to try your best to turn it into Molly. So what we have next is the left atrium. So we have the left atrium. So it goes from the superior vena cava to the right atrium to the left atrium. Okay. It receives oxygenated blood from the left atrium into the aorta. So make sure you're writing all of these down. All these notes that you are writing down are due to Molly. So just make sure that you're writing these notes. The left atrium receives oxygenated blood from the left atrium into the aorta. All right, the right ventricle, it receives deoxygenated blood. Whenever you're taking these notes, make sure you know the difference. The right ventricle takes deoxygenated blood. So make sure you're writing this down. All right, the left ventricle receives oxygenated blood. Like I said, we're just going over different parts of the heart, the different chambers. The left ventricle receives oxygenated blood. Okay.
Slow down. Go back.
All right. The left ventricle, this is the one I just had, receives oxygenated blood. So we're going to diagram each one of these for you, the different parts of the heart, and that's what we're going to label to make sure that y'all are getting it. Okay. All right, the apex is the bottom of the heart. It's just so that way scientists, whenever they're dissecting a heart, can know which is the top and which one's the bottom. So the apex, A-P-E-X, the apex of the heart is at the bottom. It's just the bottom of the heart. You're going to be labeling the apex on our little diagram. So Hannah, yes, we do turn it in the notes. All right, the next one is the average resting heartbeat rate. So the normal heartbeat rate is 60 to 100 beats per minute. The average resting heartbeat beat rate is 60 to 100 beats per minute. That's what BPM is. BPM stands for beats per minute. So your heart has to be able to go from 60 to 100 whenever you're resting. That means whenever you're sleeping. So whenever you are sitting in this chair like I am, your resting heart rate, your resting heart rate average should be from 60 to 100. The reason why we're doing average was because some people are whenever they're a little bit special. So sometimes your heart rate can be above 100 or below 60, but that's not a good thing. So the average is 60 to 100. All right. So now we're going to learn about the blood. The blood is a sticky, salty fluid that circulates through the body. So blood is very important. Blood is what brings oxygen and nutrients to the cells. That's why we need it so much. So blood, the actual definition for blood is sticky, salty fluid that circulates through the body, sorry. And then what blood does is it carries nutrients and oxygen to all parts and carries it to the liver and kidneys to be eliminated. So make sure that you are writing that. That's why blood is so important. That's why whenever we cut ourselves really bad, that whenever you cut yourselves, you're starting to bleed out really bad, and parts of the brains are losing oxygen because the blood can't oxygenate all the organs and the cells properly. So this is blood. All right, so our next vocab word is red blood cells. So red blood cells they carry oxygen and contain a protein called hemoglobin. So don't confuse these with other blood cells. We're just talking about the red ones. And the reason why they're red is because they have oxygen in them. the different colors, whenever someone's starting to turn blue, that means their blood is deoxygenated. That's why they start turning blue. Whenever you're oxygenated, you're nice and red. You have a red, bright red blood cells going through. So it carries oxygen and contains a protein called hemoglobin. So our next vocab word is hemoglobin. It attracts oxygen molecules through a process known as oxygenation. So it attracts oxygen molecules through a process known as oxygenation. Fine. No. So hemoglobin is very, very important.
No, you're right. It's oxygenation.
So hemoglobin is very, very important. It actually makes sure it's what attracts the oxygen to the red blood cells. So it is extremely, extremely important to the body. Hemoglobin. The O2 means, yeah, attracts oxygen. Perfect. All right, so the next term we have is oxygenation. The addition of oxygen to the blood. That's what oxygenation does. It's pretty simple on what it does. It's kind of self-explanatory on this one.
No, it's oxygenation, I think.
Oxygenation, the addition of oxygen to the blood. All right, so now we have the white blood cells. So we have red blood cells that carry oxygen Now we have our white blood cells. Our white blood cells are also called leukocytes. And leukocytes is spelled L-E-U-K-O-C-Y-T-E-S, leukocytes. It fights bacteria and other foreign substances, increases in numbers when infection invades the body. So white blood cells are pretty important, especially when fighting against disease, infection, and all of that. What they do is they increase in size and makes a huge swarm and attacks whatever it needs to attack. So fun fact is the reason why your tattoos fade is because white blood cells are taking away the little bits of ink one by one because your body thinks it's a foreign substance. So that is why you get your tattoos laser removed, because the laser breaks up the ink so the white blood cells can take away the ink. Little fun fact. So white blood cells are the cause of your tattoos fading. All right. Kayla, I love your response. That's root of my body. Another word for it is thrombocytes, and they are responsible for clotting the blood. So whenever you get a little cut and you get that kind of sticky, gooey stuff in the cut, this is the blood platelets gathering up what they do is they gather up and they stick to each other, and that's what creates that really weird, goopy blood whenever you're bleeding on a cut. This helps stop the blood so that way you don't bleed out. Oh, Aubrey, that's why my cousin had problems with the white blood cells were fighting those red blood cells. Yes, white blood cells can fight your red blood cells. All right, so next one we have is blood plasma. Blood plasma is the fluid part of the blood in which red and white blood cells and blood platelets are suspended. So what the blood plasma is whenever you donate blood plasma, what they do is they take your blood and they shake it a little in this machine. And the little white fluid on top, so it's like putting oil and vinegar. You know how the vinegar rises to the top and the water and the oil stays on the bottom, or vice versa. But they separate. So whenever your blood is spun like that, the blood plasma separates from the blood, so you have this little white on top and then red on the bottom. So in the blood plasma, you have your white blood cells, blood platelets, so they separate from the actual blood. Okay. So once we get past all of the blood, what carries the blood? Does anyone know what carries blood? Does anyone know what carries blood through the body? Yes, there we go, veins. Veins is the correct answer. The next thing we're going to learn about is veins and what carries the blood through the body. So, veins are tubular, elastic, thin, walled, branching vessels. What they do is they carry impure blood from the capillaries to the heart. So that is what veins do. So this is the definition of a vein, and this is the definition of what they do. And everyone can see their veins. Okay, so our next vocabulary word is capillaries. Capillaries takes nutrients and oxygen from the arteries to the cells and take waste products from the cells to the veins. So the capillaries are actually smaller than veins. There is a ton of capillaries in your body. Okay. So next we're going to learn about blood vessels. They're small vessels that are throughout the body. That is the definition of blood vessels. And what they do is circulates blood through the body. So blood vessels. Okay, so your arteries. Your arteries are tubular, elastic, thick-walled, branching vessels. What they do is they carry pure blood containing oxygen from the heart through the body. So actually, your veins and arteries do two different things. Veins take away deoxygenated blood, hence, which is kind of like a blue. It's more of a blue, not exactly a bluish color, but it's the color you see. Your arteries carry oxygenated blood. That's why your arteries are bright, bright, bright red. So a lot of people think that veins just carry all the blood. No, there's a ton of different. You have your capillaries, your arteries, and your veins that carry blood through the body. Each one just carries a different form. Arteries carry oxygen. So arteries carry blood away from your heart. Veins carry blood to your heart because your heart is taking the deoxygenated blood and turning it into oxygenated. So veins take it to the heart, they oxygenate it, and then arteries take it away from the body throughout the whole body. Cardiovascular system is pretty simple. Okay. So the last system we have that's part of the cardiovascular system is the lymph system. So lymph, what it is the second subsystem of the cardiovascular system. What it does is it's responsible for picking up and returning leaked tissue fluid and plasma proteins to the cardiovascular system. So this deals with the plasma. Oh, there we go. All right, and then this is the last definition that y'all need to learn. It is lymph. Lymph is a colorless liquid that helps maintain blood volume and pressure. So that is what lymph does. That is what's so important. Okay, does everyone have the last definition? Okay, so those were all of our vocabulary words. Make sure that you have all of those written down. Make sure that you will turn them into Molly. And now what we're going to do is y'all are going to copy a picture of the heart that I drew and already labeled. So all you have to do is underneath all of these vocab words, draw this heart and label it. And that's what you are going to turn into Molly, all of that.
You're gonna give them 20 minutes. Draw and label.
I'm going to give you 20 minutes to draw and label, and then questions and answers, I can go back and repeat anything that you need. So I'm going to give you 20 minutes to draw this once I put it up. All right, everyone. So Elizabeth just asked, but do we go ahead and turn this into Molly? Yes. So you're going to turn in your vocab words and your diagram of the heart labeled. So right here we have the front of the heart. Over here we have what is outlined in black is what the deoxygenated blood is. In red outline, we have every part that deals with oxygenated blood. So we have this labeled superior vena cava right here. And this is where all the blood goes in from the veins. And this is where it all begins. Then we have the right atrium. It is one of the 4 different compartments of the heart. We have the right ventricle. Then we have the left atrium. Then right here, we have the left ventricle. These 4 right here are the different compartments of the heart. Then right here, we have the apex of the heart, which is just the bottom of the heart. So there is it. There it is. Remember, all the red is oxygenated blood, and all of the black outlined is deoxygenated blood or no oxygen blood. So, I'm just gonna get in front of it. So Julia Bennett was kind enough to give you Molly's email, so make sure that you get that so you can turn in your vocab words and your drawing of the heart. That's what you're turning in. Now, so are there any questions? But one thing I will ask you is that our questions are not really, I want them to pertain to the lesson, not so can you go back, because remember, this is all out of your book. Every single one of these terms I got out of the Cosmetology Fundamentals book. And also, you can also replay this video at any time you would like. So if you need me to go, if you need to have replay this video, pause it and make sure to get all of them. Okay, so are there any questions that aren't, can you go back? Are there any questions that y'all are having that is just, I just don't understand? So I'm not gonna go back. I'm not gonna go back on anything. Oh, so I'm not gonna go back and go over anything. You can always replay this video, and you can always go to your Cosmetology Fundamentals book, and estheticians, you can go through your book as well. These are all in it. So now, are there any questions that are pertaining to the lesson, something you just don't understand? So, Sydney, yes, we are done for right now. What we are going to do, what you're going to do is for the rest of this time, we are going to make sure that you are getting the definitions. You have all of the words at least written down. So that way, just in case you absolutely have to, you can look them up. So now we are going to, I'm going to give you all a little bit of time, the rest of the hour, to make sure that you write all these down, label, and get the picture of the heart, so that way you can turn it into Molly for a grade. Are there any questions on that? Yes, Brenna, so you can log out and then turn them into Molly when you are done. Yeah. Bye, Sydney. All right. Bye, guys. I hope y'all have a great weekend. Make sure y'all are clocking out as well right now. Roll call, first, last, school, and time. There we go. Perfect. Bye, guys.